enormous pleasure to welcome the leader of the Labour Party to our stage here in Cornwall. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you very much for that fantastic welcome, and thank you for all the friendship that's already been extended to me in Cornwall today. It has been said, perhaps a little unfairly in the past, that visits by Labour leaders are a bit rare in Cornwall. I intend to change that. We have to go absolutely everywhere, and we have to reach out to everybody. I want to say a big thank you to Mick for introducing the event in the Cornish language today. I think that's probably a first. I understand his message about culture. I understand his message about cultural identity. I understand his message about cultural diversity. I absolutely welcome that, support that, and want to work with him and others so that we see the mosaic of this country as a combination of all our histories, all our past and all our cultures. As Candy was explaining, we used to work together in Islington. I'm proud to represent a community where 70 different languages are spoken. It isn't a problem. That diversity is a strength. Let's see our country as that wonderful mosaic of different histories, different cultures, different ideas coming together in a common social endeavour to end injustice, end inequality, and ensure decency and equality of opportunity for everybody in our society. A huge pleasure, indeed an honour, to follow Harry in what he just said. Harry and I have done a number of events together at various times, including a wonderful meeting we did at the Brighthelm Centre a couple of years ago on a very hot Saturday afternoon. And Harry and I were thinking this is where Peter Kropotkin, the Russian anarchist, had spoken at one time. The meeting was calmer than that, though. And I think Harry's last book, Harry's Last Stand, is absolutely incredible. If you haven't read it, please do, absolutely. But I'm also looking forward to his next book, which is coming out very soon. Put your orders in early, because Harry's next book is going to be about the issues we face at the current time, how we take them forward, incorporating all those values that Harry talked about of his generation, the 1945 generation, that have given us so much, and how we keep those values and keep those principles and go forward in the 21st century using those values, but also using the brilliance of technology and opportunity that gives us to conquer inequality, to conquer poverty, and give real opportunities to everybody. Harry, thank you so much for what you said today and all you do for our movement and our country. Prime Minister's question time one day. He was not impressed with people there. But what Harry and I talked about was how our Parliament and our public life has to be changed, where public representatives realise they are that. They are public representatives, and they've got to ask questions of those in power and authority on behalf of the people that put them there to ask those questions. It's not a theatre, it's a place where important work is And I want to say a big thank you to Candy, not just for what she said today, but the way we were able to work together very well in Islington and in Parliament, and the way that she presented the issues today of the problems, the poverty and the difficulties in Cornwall, and the way that she stood up for Cornwall and stood up to try and get that EU funding, which has made a difference, and stood up and made people in Parliament and elsewhere realise that for all its beauty, and there's incredible beauty in Cornwall and all its history, that is absolutely fascinating, there is still terrible levels of poverty, there are serious housing problems, there are issues of security and employment, there are issues that have to be addressed. And it's the Labour Party that is going to address those issues, and it's the Labour government that's going to address those issues when we won an election in 2020 or possibly sooner. Can we thank you? Pay tribute to our Labour County Councillors in Cornwall. Cornelius Olivier has come today. We went to Perranporth this morning to have a look at beaches and talk to people there, and he has done great work on the council, as indeed have the other group. What we now need in Cornwall is some Labour MPs to complement that as well. So thank you, Cornelius, for that, and also congratulations to Gareth Derrick on running them ever so close. Shows how things have changed. We have this big increase in membership of the Labour Party. One of the biggest proportionate increases is in this southwestern region. People joining the party because they want to come together, because they want to be able to confront the huge issues that we face together and make sure our party is a campaigning organisation, not just at election time, but at all the other times as well, so that we reach past much of the media that want to ignore what we're saying and point out the issues of housing, the issues of jobs, the issues of infrastructure and all those things. It's the strength of our party is its members. The strength of our party is its cultural values, its political values, its sense of community, and that in turn engenders a wider sense of community. It's that change in the political debate and the narrative in this country that I believe has got the Tories and so many others on the run. So our party is strong, our party is in good heart, and our party is in every part of the UK. That's why we're so strong. And I'm disappointed in much of the debate that's gone on in this EU referendum campaign. I've heard a great deal of waffle from David Cameron. I've heard even more from Boris Johnson and a number of others. Wouldn't it be nice if our national media instead turned to talking to people who have a great deal to say, a great deal of enormous interest to say? Why not, for example, have Harry Smith on News at 10 talking about the issues that face this country? It's that kind of knowledge and serious attention to the issues that is so very, very important. Boris Johnson is apparently mainly concerned about bananas. Interesting subject for Boris Johnson to take up. I'm not aware of any bananas that are grown anywhere in this country apart from in the hothouse at Kew. Possibly at the Eden Project they grow a few bananas, I'm sure they do, are capable of it, but it is hardly an issue that need concern us. The only thing I'd say is that I'm deeply disappointed that for all its brilliance and all its work, the European Union has totally failed to generate straight bananas. It's quite shocking, isn't it? That seems to be Boris Johnson's main concern. I think that's why he wants to leave. Not sure about that. But we have to also be very serious about what we can get from the European Union and what we can change from the European Union. Because I'm arguing for Remain, not because I love the institution, not because I love all of that, because it's a serious decision that has to be made about our relations, how we do things, and also the important benefits we've got. Candy pointed out some of the stuff that we've been achieved for Cornwall. In the last 15 years, Cornwall has received more than £1 billion in EU structural investment, with another 480 million due in the next 4 years. That is more than any other region in the UK. That would not have been achieved if Candy with the support of others, hadn't campaigned so effectively and so vociferously in Parliament to achieve that. Thank you, Camden, for that. There's also the question of the exports that go from all parts of Britain, including this one, to the European Union, and the number of jobs that are dependent on those sales. There's also some important things, such as the protection of the Cornish pasty under EU law. So, the Cornish pasty is here forever. I don't know if Boris Johnson agrees with that. I haven't discussed the Cornish pasty with him, but yesterday the Cornish Pasty Association came out in support of Remain. Thank you. Unclear of, and perhaps there's somebody in this audience can help me with this. As you may know, I'm a vegetarian. Does the protected Cornish pasty include the vegetarian pasty? Is it only the meat pasty? Can somebody help me? Perhaps not now, but maybe after the meeting. But this is an important issue. As I said at the beginning, this morning I went down to see Cornwall beach, and it's a truly wonderful beach, and I had some very happy memories of taking groups of children there on camping holidays that we had, and a fantastic beach. And now it is a very clean beach. Indeed, because of EU regulations, we have a very large number, indeed 95% of the beaches around this country are now clean. But it didn't happen by accident. I recall swimming amongst sewage as a child in beaches all around this country. The idea that you'd have a sewage outfall pipe just pumped out into the sea and hoped it would go away. I don't know if those people weren't too clear about what happened with tides, but tides bring it all back in again. You have to invest in infrastructure, you have to invest in something to clean it up. It was ordinary people campaigning that got the Clean Air Act in London. It was ordinary people campaigning that started to improve regulations. It was ordinary people campaigning all over Europe that got those beach and seawater regulations introduced. But it was also people like Surfers Against Sewage that pointed out what was actually happening. Well done them. Because environmental issues are very important. Now, we live on an island, of course. We're all very well aware of that. And you can not be more aware of that anywhere except other than Cornwall, because you are surrounded on three sides by sea. If Cornwall pumps raw sewage into the sea, some of it will come back on the beaches, some of it will go on to be something that could poison or damage marine life, some of it might end up on the beaches of France. If the French decide to pump raw sewage into the sea, the same thing happens and some of it ends up on our beaches. If we want to protect the migratory route of birds, we do that by protecting their feeding grounds, their wintering grounds, or whatever it happens to be. There is no point in protecting it here if somewhere down the flight path they're allowed to be shot and killed. The same thing in reverse. Likewise, if we are putting polluted air into the skies over our big cities and our industrial heartlands, that polluted air goes somewhere. It ends up in another country. There was a time when we were a party to damaging Scandinavian forests by acid rain because of the sulfuric acid we were putting up in the sky. There was a time when people woke up and realised that CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, were very damaging to all of us. You only solve environmental problems by ignoring the national boundaries and recognising we live on one planet, one sky, one sea, and we all need it. But it does require that national governments adhere to agreed regulations. So, the EU agreed some years ago to restrict the use, 3 years ago in fact, to restrict the use of pesticides that appear to be strongly linked to the decline of our bee population. the British government had to be dragged kicking and screaming into enforcing